Gold production collapses again in May, impacting people's jobs and the South African economy. This is the important update that we're going to look at today. Gold production in South Africa has fallen again. I think it's the 7th monthly contraction in gold production in South Africa, and 1 month alone it's fallen from a very low level. It's fallen under 16.2%, which is a massive drop in one month. And this basically is the important story. South Africa was once the biggest producer of gold in the world. It used to produce over 1,000 metric tons of gold every single year, up until the year 1970. And since 1970, South African gold production has been falling quite precipitously actually, and it's now I think we were below 250 metric tons about 10 years ago, and I think the most recent figures, I think last year we were around the 150 metric tons mark. So it's fallen 85% in the last since 1970. So in 40 nearly 50 years, a massive drop. And we think this portends the same geological issues will be seen throughout the world in time, and this is a phenomenon which we call peak gold. Gold production, we're not going to run out of gold anytime soon, and it's not going to peak as in a classical peak like the Himalayas or any of the classic mountain range that we know, like a classic peak. It's more a plateau gold, actually, is what we would call it. The gold production will plateau, and meanwhile this comes at a time that global demand is actually increasing. So it's an important story, but it's not just important solely to the I suppose the price of gold and the outlook of gold, and supports the favorable supply demand fundamentals that are in the gold market, particularly on the supply side. It also speaks to just the difficulty that emerging markets such as South Africa have, and other large gold producing nations have, when the gold price is artificially suppressed, as it has been in recent years. So there's a lot of allegations of manipulation, and GATA, the Gold Antitrust Action Committee, have done an excellent job over the years documenting how this manipulation has happened, and who's doing the manipulation, and indeed why the manipulation is happening. But there are innocent victims of the manipulation. It's not just investors and speculators who've been badly burnt in recent years. So the South African economy has a huge amount of jobs are created in the mining of gold, and indeed platinum and other precious metals, and indeed other base metals. And when these metals prices are suppressed in price, it actually badly impacts some of the key industries in South Africa, and it impacts people's jobs and pensions and the livelihoods of individuals and families. And it's important consideration that people don't frequently think about. So in the Western world, we're delighted when commodity prices go lower, because it means we can consume more stuff, we can buy more things, and inflation is kept low. But for emerging markets, they don't have the products and service that we have. They have more so they're dependent on the value of the raw materials and of their natural resources, and therefore it's important to get a fair price on them and a fair value for them. And if they do, a lot of the poverty that we see in the world would be greatly alleviated. So it's an important sort of side issue. Well, it's actually one of the key issues, but in the gold market, it never gets looked at, and we think it's an important angle to look at. So South African production continues to collapse, and that's a very important story to keep an eye on, and we'll continue to do so in coming weeks and months. So if you're interested in getting more updates like this, please subscribe on GoldCore.com to our updates, to our podcast, and you can follow us in the usual channels. And if you've got any questions at all, feel free to send us an email at info@GoldCore.com, and we endeavor to answer all questions from subscribers and indeed clients. Thanks for your time. Take care. Bye-bye.